You've captured the internet's attention multiple times. Hand-size season.
Hand-size.
The fake slide, you changed college football. They're now going to make a rule probably prohibiting that. So what was going through your mind? Like, did you – I don't believe that you didn't script that out, by the way.
You don't believe it? You think I scripted that?
I think you plan to do it.
Dude, in a championship game, there's impossible to think about scripting something out that's never been done in the game before. That's true. You know, like, it's the biggest game of my career. Like, the only thing I'm thinking about is winning the game and executing the game plan that we have put in. And the fake slide was not in the game plan.
The number one, tight end in the country.
Adam Breneman, tight end, Cedar Cliff.
And then popped up.
Touchdown! Adam Breneman, a 14-yard strike.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Breneman Shows Up. I'm Adam Breneman. We're right here in New Jersey where Kenny Pickett is training for the NFL draft. He's fresh off the NFL Combine. Kenny's a great guy. I've known him for a few years now. He has a really interesting story. You're going to hear his story told in a way it hasn't been told before. Let's actually go to his crib right now. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. How's everything?
Good, man. I appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely.
Bro, you are tiny.
That's probably...
Who would have ever thought that would be QB1 in a few years?
That was freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's freshman year of high school, yeah.
You're 14 in this picture?
13? 14?
I was a sophomore.
14, 15?
Yeah, well, you look like a grown man.
Yeah, you look about it.
But yeah,
Just compared to Kenny.
I'll compare it.
Yeah, compared to me. Yeah, that's how it always was growing up, dude.
11 years old. It's a nice spot you got here, man. Nice crib.
The hotel decor.
Well, man, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm shocked at how easy it was to get you to do this podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've known you for a while now. All the other podcasts, like I've had like all the requests on IG, of course, and I mean, I don't do any of those just because I have a pretty good relationship with you. So
yeah, well, when I hit you up, I wasn't even sure I was doing it yet, and I DM'd you and I was like, "Yo, Kenny, you want to come on the podcast?" You were right away, like 5 minutes. You were like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, easy one.
That's why I decided to do it. But dude, it's amazing to me like how much your life has changed in the past year. I mean, what's it? I mean, it's got to be surreal to think about where you were 365 days ago and now standing here today.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that point it was like back when I was making the decision to go back to school or whatever. It was like day 3, like 5th round to 7th round pick. I mean, obviously, the decision to come back was to be exactly where I am. So to do everything I kind of said I was going to do, it's been pretty cool.
The money's a little different in 3rd to 7th round versus the first
You know
round.
that, yeah. I'd say so. I think I mean, it's like nauseating the amount of difference from like, I mean, based off a pick-by-pick basis in that first round too, it's substantial money. So
the combine was important. Right?
It was.
For the pick-by-pick basis. How was that?
It was cool. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows the extent. I think they think that you show up, like you have some interviews and then you just go run and stuff and that's it. It's 4 days of like just a grind. Like as soon as you get off the plane, you're going to meetings or you're going to interviews. Or you have medicals, like the amount of medical exams and stuff, and like the doctors that you get. Like one doctor does like a physical on you, and then you go into all like 6 different rooms, all split up with doctors from different teams. They run you through like whatever they want to check out.
Touching you everywhere.
Whatever they want to do. Like you're in your underwear and you're just in front of just 30 people and they're just kind of examining you. And like the guy walks you to each room and just reads off your thing and you just sit there quietly and just follow him around. Yeah. So dude, it's an experience. It really is. And then obviously the interview process of, I think I met with 9 teams formally, 7 teams informally, and it wasn't like the Senior Bowl is a little bit different than that. Yeah. A lot more front office executives at the combine, but I mean, just sit in a chair with 20 other NFL execs and they're just grilling you about your film, and they'll teach you a play and then erase it. You got to watch film, remember the play that they just showed because they're going to ask you to go up there on the board and detail as much as you can and spit it back out. So it's definitely a unique process. I don't think there's no other job interview probably like this one.
What was harder, like the physical part of it, like the actual like the testing and preparing for that, or like the mental part?
That's the easiest part. Like I was just like by like day 2 or 3 of the combine, I was like, just get me to Thursday night because I was confident I was going to go out there and perform well, all the hard work and stuff. But it was getting through like sitting in a hospital for 11, 12 hours waiting for MRIs and X-rays because there's so many guys. The hospital can't take that many guys, so it's brutal.
What was the toughest interview?
Toughest interview? Saints was a good one. Saints was really good. I mean, they would try and give you a long play call. You got to stand up, call it like you're in a huddle, and then you got to watch film and then be like, oh, what was that play call again? Yeah. And like you're like, they try to bounce you all over the place. That was a good one. And they were the same with the Senior Bowl. They do a good job.
Yeah. Well, you know the one thing we got to talk about, right? It's been all over the news.
Oh,
right?
yeah, the biggest news story that just should not be that big of a news story.
How ridiculous is that? The hand season, right? It's officially hand season at the Combine.
That's right.
Is it like, does it get frustrating? Like, is it annoying for you to listen to people talk about your hand size all the time?
Yeah, I think everyone thinks it's a lot more frustrating for me, but there's nothing I can do. So I think it's crazy how I didn't think it would be that big of news where like I was in meetings and stuff and like going through like the media circuit, and I get out and my phone is just like like going crazy, and it's all because like I have all the sports apps on my phone. And I see like my name popping up, and it's just all hand
I got the
size.
ESPN notification.
ESPN, Bleacher
Kenny
Report,
Pickett's hand size.
Dude,
I'm like, dude,
everything.
What?
And like what people don't get is like 9 inches is like what? That's like the thing. Like how my hand is when I grab a ball, like because of my thumb, I have like a weird thing with my thumb. It gets to 9 inches. Yeah. But the flat measurement is where my thumb doesn't extend. It kind of points like straight. So it's weird, and that's like where it's just odd. And it's like even though like okay, you're worried about my hand size and me gripping the ball, like I wear gloves. So like obviously the texture of the glove is a lot more secure than a bare hand on the football. So like that's one answer there. And then I wear the glove in the rain. So I mean I have like answers for all the concerns, and it was insane that like a team, I think maybe 3 teams asked me my hand size. At the Combine versus like the media storm that was just so crazy. And like I'm getting tagged in all these pictures. People are like sending me pictures of their hand, like on a hand measurement.
Dude, I saw a bunch of TikToks about it.
Dude, so funny. I'm just like, there's like I'm like all these guys must be first round quarterbacks. They're just everywhere. So yeah, it's
you know the old saying like all press is good press.
Right.
So,
yeah, I guess.
Everyone's talking about it. Right?
Yeah, everyone.
It's probably crazy to think about like all that goes into the Combine process, because I know that you talked about like you're actually like doing drills to like stretch out your hand, right? Yeah. And like you strategically didn't measure them at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, because I'd have more time to like do all like the stretching.
It's like hilarious for someone who doesn't know the game to think that you were actually like practicing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they didn't think like that it was actually like what I was doing. But of course, like I mean everything you do in this game, like you're doing it for like you just don't do things for like no reason. So I put a lot of time, and I would drive in places and figuring out the best things to do. Obviously, because some teams care about it and some teams don't. So you want to put yourself in the best position at the end of the day. So you do whatever you have to do to be where you want to be.
Did you see Ross Tucker's tweet about how the heck would you ever be able to play in Pittsburgh for the Steelers?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no. He was just saying that about because he played in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Joke. He's like cold weather city. He won't be able to play there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll never be able to grip the ball like a city like Pittsburgh. Yeah,
it's funny. Let's talk about your journey to get to the point you are today. Let's go all the way back to when you were a little kid, like 10, 11, 12 years old. Driving 2.5 hours to go see my high school head coach, who was your quarterback trainer. I just talked to him on my way here, and he was telling me these stories about you and your dad driving like 2.5 hours there and then back in the same night to come train. So tell me about that and kind of what that process was like.
Yeah. I mean, the journey to get to here, goes way back. Like you said, I mean, really, I'd say 11 years old when I kind of said telling my parents, like they knew my dream was to do that and play at this level and go to the NFL. But like at some point you have to make like that commitment of like just going all in on it, and I did it at 11, and it was all really me telling my parents what I wanted to do. And I had my first like interaction was at SVS camps, which that's obviously how we met with Coach Contafio, and that's 2.5 hours from my house, and that was like multiple. There wasn't like one time in the off season of like Pop Warner and stuff that I was doing that. I was consistently making that like trip with my dad all the way through summers and stuff just to train. And the first time I did it is kind of where I fell in love with the work, I guess, like the process of becoming a good quarterback. Going through all of his drills, like hearing him like teach on there's videos of me like doing chalk talk at like 11, 12 years old that he used to do with us. So I absolutely love that stuff. And the journey starts way back there, and putting the time in, like sacrificing a lot of things you miss as a kid. Like there's so many things that you have to miss. And that's the piece that no one really wants to do. Like no one wants to miss the fun stuff with friends. But like at a young age, I think there was a lot of things. I was just different in terms of that kind of commitment and stuff.
It takes sacrifice, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
everything.
Everything. And then the higher you go, the more you miss. I mean, like playing college ball, there's zero time home.
No doubt.
Couple weeks to get home. So there's a lot of things that you miss out on. And as long as your family's cool with it, and obviously you have to be okay with it, then you'll be okay. But definitely you just miss a lot of things. That it started young for me, and I knew where I wanted to go. And there was a lot of great players there. Like I said, Dwayne Haskins was there.
Yeah, we had a crew.
We had a crew. Yeah, Andrew Ford, Kasim Hill. I mean, you were there. So I knew I was obsessed with trying to be the absolute best. So it's like I want to go against Dwayne Haskins every weekend, and I learned a lot from him. We were roommates at Team USA, and our friendship really started there. So like, and we're friends to this day, and that's kind of like where that competitive edge starts. When you're getting, like, I wasn't in New Jersey, I was in PA, and there's kids from all over meeting there, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Like, that's where the love, I think, of that work process started at those camps.
What was kind of the point where you realized that you were going to be a Division I quarterback? Because obviously you had to grow a little bit before you got to that point, right?
Dude, I'm telling you, at 11 years old, there was like not a doubt in my, like, no one could tell me different.
Really?
No one could tell me different. I always said I was going to be here, and I was so like dead set on it, man. If I went to the doctors and it was like, I was growing like 2 inches a year steadily, and I was getting so frustrated. Like, I need this growth spurt. I need this growth spurt. 8th grade now. I mean, like, back then it was young people asking about, like, oh, where are you going to college? Like, do you have your college plans set? Like, where do you want to go to school? And I told these 2 teachers, I was like, I'm going to go wherever I can play for free. Like, I'm going to go play Division I football, get a scholarship.
They laughed at you.
Laughed at me. Like, and I remember it. I could tell you the 2 teachers' names. I'm not going to put them on blast, but like, remember the class. Remember, like, it was like second period math class, algebra class. It was the algebra teacher and an English teacher. They were just in there talking to us about, like, starting our college, like, plans. And then 8th grade, like, why are you like trying to tell a kid what he can and can't do in 8th grade? Like, and it's crazy. That's just kind of how the world we live in nowadays. So many people want to tell you, like, the amount of loud people that will tell you you're going to fail is so much more than the small group that's like actually rooting for you. They're not going to be on Twitter and stuff saying, oh, you're going to do this. You're gonna, like, that crowd is so small. The crowd of people that are going to tell you that you're going to fail is just so way bigger, because, like, obviously they didn't do anything like that, so they're never going to believe it. So, dude, back then I had zero doubt of where I would be, and I remember all the naysayers, and I think that just builds like that edge, that chip on your shoulder. Back then, I'd say 11 years old.
Yeah, and you probably learned through that process, like, how many people tell you to your face they're rooting for you, and behind your back they don't want you to be successful.
100%, no.
The old saying, like, people love success and hate successful people.
Yes.
So you probably learned your circle gets real small.
Oh, it gets small, and it's the tough part about going home and seeing a lot of people.
No doubt.
Like,
they didn't want you to make it, and now they want to be your boy.
There's so many people that I know, because I remember. I like, it's like you keep receipts. Like, you just remember the people that rub you the wrong way, that just said you weren't going to be anything that you said you were going to do. I went to my mom, like, helped raise these kids pretty much. Like, there were 2 teachers that we were family friends with, and my mom helped nanny their kids while they were in school, kind of stuff. I went to one of their kids' basketball games this past weekend in my hometown, and my 6th grade teacher was there. And she's like, I remember in 6th grade you said you were going to be famous. Like, I just didn't believe you. I was like, you were part of the many. I was like, there was very few people that said I would be, that helped push me and, like, kind of achieve everything I said I was going to do. There's so many people that just don't want to be a part of that, and they just want to be a naysayer, because that's just the overall group of people. It's just a larger group. So it's just I'm happy though it was like that, because I don't think I would have had that edge that I had, coming out of my hometown. But like you said, like, seeing people that I knew were the part of that group, and now they're like, we always knew you were going to do it. Every time I talk, like, oh, we always knew you were going to be there. Like, that's what you work so hard at it, this and that.
They're probably sharing your posts on Instagram, like, what's up, my boy?
It's funny, man. It's just funny how it changes. Like, I've never known I've had so many friends and cousins and family members that come out of the blue. But it's all part of the process, and I think it's good to stay true and, like, of course, be respectful. I'll never call anyone out on it. And, like, to their face, or, like I said, I wouldn't say any names on, like, while I'm here talking to you, but you just know. Like, and I would tell my mom is friends with everybody in my town. Like, she's just very friendly with everyone, and it's always tough, because I'm like, I just know. No doubt. Know the deal.
What was the, like, recruiting process like to get to Pittsburgh? Because you weren't a super highly recruited dude. Like, you were. You've kind of been a theme of being under the radar your whole life and your whole career. Like, what was that? How'd you end up going to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, like, first committed to Temple. So I was gonna commit to UConn, and I had a visit, and I was like, listen, like, my mom's on the visit. I want to bring my mom here, like, in 2 weeks, and I'm gonna commit. So kind of gave him like
Randy Edsall, head coach at UConn. Right?
Who was
that? Him?
It might have been him at the time. So I kind of gave him like a soft commitment, and I was like, listen, just let me bring my mom back here. I want her to walk around with me and see it. And they were like, okay, and they gave a week, and another kid committed. They're like, listen, you didn't commit fast. Like, this kid verbaled, like, sorry, we're taking this kid. So then I had Clemson, or not Clemson, sorry. Definitely not Clemson.
You didn't have Clemson.
Definitely not Clemson. Temple, Buffalo, Monmouth, who was right where I grew up. Right, yeah, big one, right? Coastal Carolina. There's one more small one, and I was and my recruiting kind of simmered down. So I was like, those were the only schools I was really talking to. I was like, damn, I only got Temple left.
You did not want to go to Temple, right?
Out of the gates, like no, like that. You know how it is. That area, like that, just wasn't where I wanted to be. But I was like, listen, that's the NFL's where you want to get to. I'm like, that's probably gonna give me the best chance to get there. Like I have to commit to Temple. So I committed to Temple, and then my growth, like the growth spurt, and I put on weight. Yeah. And I then like Pitt rolled in. Boston College, Iowa, North Carolina, Missouri, getting in the summer like A&M, Ole Miss, Arkansas. So I'm starting to get bigger schools now, and I'm like, okay, like I should probably look at these opportunities, and I decommitted from Temple. Coach Cannon was at Pitt at the time, who's now the OC of the Steelers, obviously, and loved his offense. Felt like I'd fit there pretty well. Like loved Narduzzi, loved the play, so ended up coming to Pittsburgh on my birthday in June. So
that's sweet.
Yeah,
that's sweet. And it worked out, right?
Worked out, man. Because then I'm committed. I'm going to enroll early. Canada leaves a week before I step on campus. So there was a time where I was going to flip to North Carolina because Coach Narduzzi is not an offensive guy. Yeah. Like they had no offensive staff. Yeah. As a quarterback, that's huge for you. And I know it's like the carousel is crazy in college, but you want to at least give yourself the best chance to succeed. And I was like, listen, I have no clue who my OC is going to be, and at the end of the day, like I was talking to Coach Deuce, he's like, you just got to put trust in me, like I'll get you the right guy, and he got Coach Whip down the road, man. He got the right guy, so it's crazy that the recruiting stories and how I got to where I am now, it's just like the stress levels just go up and down through the whole thing.
Your recruitment wasn't like wild, but give me your craziest recruiting. Like what's a good recruiting story? I mean, it got wild a little bit when you had Pitt, DC and the North Carolina.
I would say that not a lot of people knew that I was going to flip to. I really had a whole plan to flip it to North Carolina because I knew their OC, I knew their quarterback coach. Yeah. I had a good relationship with Coach Fedora, so like that was like my dream, not my dream school, but in the recruiting process, they offered me late because they had like 6 quarterbacks on roster. Like as soon as one guy leaves, like we're gonna offer you. Yeah. And that's kind of how it happened. They offered me late in November, middle of the season of my high school year. I said, thank you, but I'm committed to Pitt. And they hit me up, I think, before the Canada news even leaked. They're like, your OC's, the OC's leaving. Like, we want you here. Yeah, we want you here. I was so set on, like, it was like 50-50, and one day I was like, I just felt better at North Carolina. Like, I know the staff I'm going to work with. Like, I want to go to North Carolina. So I told my parents, like, I'm going to flip. I had a whole box of gear, like, shipped to my house because I had to sign, like, that week to go enroll early. So I had a whole box of North Carolina gear, and my dad, like, got, like, a bunch of stuff for, like, my sister, my mom, my dad, like, to wear on the signing. And then I woke up, like, the next day, and I was like, screw it, I'm going to Pitt. And I called, like, Coach Sam. I was like, send the papers now. And he, like, sent them, and I signed it. Like, there was no big, like, ordeal. Like, I was in the office of my house, my dad's office, printed them out, signed them, faxed them back to him, and I was like, I'm done. I'm going to Pitt. So that was definitely probably the craziest.
I mean, UNC would have been a little bit better campus, like
better,
little warmer weather.
Definitely nicer campus. Warmer weather, but I think it worked out.
It did.
Definitely worked out.
It started working out early too. Like your freshman year, you get the start against Miami, you get the big win as a true freshman. What was that? Did you were like, this may work out here at Pitt?
Yeah, I think it was another, like, going back to when I was 11, and I said I was going to play as a freshman, just like everybody does. Yeah. Like, if you don't have that mindset, you got no shot. Yeah. But, like, so I was, I came in with Max Brown too, who was the grad transfer, and, like, through the first weeks of practice, my buddies are hitting me up. They're like, how's it going? I was like, it's good. I was like, I don't know when I'm going to play, but I was like, I'm going to play.
Yeah. And Max was a big time
five-star. He was the talk of the.
He was the locked in starter.
Locked in starter. Like, was the talk of the university, obviously, because he was coming in from USC, bigger quarterback, taller. Yeah. Obviously more mature, like a grown man compared to me coming out of high school looking like Bieber pretty much. So
you're not that good looking.
No, but I had the hair like him probably. So he was coming in. I just, there was no talks of me playing as a true freshman. But I was just I was just so confident. I was like, I don't know. I just work so hard. Like, I'm just obsessed with it. And I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna play. Like, I just had that, I'm gonna do it. He ended up getting hurt in Syracuse, and that whole week, like, that was week 6. I was on scout team, and you know how that, like, I'm not part of the game plan.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun. I'm getting my ass kicked twice a week. We're going live, and I'm a mobile guy.
You were going live in season?
Oh,
that's
dude,
Narduzzi.
That's Coach Doozy, right? Yeah, we were going live, quarterbacks live. You know, like, you know how the offensive line is on the scout team.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where, like, that gamer mentality come in. Like, they would tell me to throw a pick. They'd be like, throw it here. Like, they want to give him confidence.
Yeah.
So I would, like, scramble out, and it would be like me to, like, you guys at the table were like 10 yards away.
Yeah.
And I would just step in and throw 100 miles an hour at, like, their faces, and it would, like, bounce off there. And I'm like, they wouldn't say anything. I'm like, I'm throwing it right at them. They're just not catching it. But I just like it's just being a competitor. I wanted to get off scout team, so I played my ass off to get off scout team. So then Max goes down, so I'm the 3. So the backup goes in, DiNucci goes in.
Yeah.
And his helmet gets ripped off. And I have my helmet on. Dude, I saw his helmet go. I just sprinted onto the field. Like, no one told me to go. I was just gone. And they ended up calling timeout to save my red shirt. And then the game goes on. It's the last play of the game. The second to last play of the game. It happens again. His helmet pops off. I sprint out. We don't have any timeouts left. I'm like, screw it. Once I burn this red shirt, I got to play. Like, I'm not going to let him get a chance. So I go out there, and I completed a pass for, like, I don't even know what it was. But we ended up losing the game. And then the season goes on, and me and Ben are kind of splitting time. He plays, better mid-third quarters away through the season, struggles a little bit in VT, and that was the game that Coach Deuce was like, if it's not going great, like, we're going to get you in there earlier. Yeah. So it was after the first quarter, I started the second quarter and finished the game, and we lost on the 1-yard line. I threw a glance route to Jester Wade. He took it all the way down to 1. We thought he scored. So, like, me and Brian O'Neill are celebrating, like, yelling at the crowd. Like, the crowd of VT is crazy. And then, like, you got, like, they're like, offense, back up. And we're like, we look at each other. We're like, oh. And it's loud there. I mean, it was a packed crowd late in the season. They had a pretty good team. And we get stuffed on the 1 four times. Brutal. Like I would say that was, like, my first game. Yeah. So that was a tough game. And then the Miami game, obviously, was the next week. And there was talks that, like, no one really knew if I was starting or not. I think DiNucci was still. It was like Ben DiNucci or Kenny Pickett, like, on the depth chart, like how they trying to hide it.
Good or.
Yeah, right. Got the start, and I was just like talking to, like, my family and stuff, friends. It's like number 2 team in the country. Like, just go out and just play. Like, just go do what I do. And I just cut it loose and made plays, with trying to, like, every down I treated like 3rd or 4th down. Like, I was putting my shoulder down. I had to do something to win the team over, and, like, in those kind of games, like, that's how you win, like, a program over. Like, you have guys that rally around you if you show how hard you play, and, like, the will to win. So, like, I just did everything to try and win, and that was a good win. That was, like, our bowl game for the seniors too, so that was special.
It's a huge win.
Huge win. I mean, we had guys like Brian O'Neill was out of there. He left early. Avonte Maddox was there. That was a huge win for him. Jester Wea, all those guys were like big brothers to me when I was a freshman. So that was a good win for those guys at end. But that kind of like started my career on a pretty high note.
That game kind of like solidified you as the face of the program going forward.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, after that, I was in the offseason, all the rest of the guys transferred. At one point, I was the only guy in the quarterback room that was left, and they had to get transfers. That's just how college football is nowadays. It's even worse now. But
no doubt. In the next few years, you were playing well. You know, I don't want to call it adversity, but the 2020 season didn't go exactly how you wanted it to. You ended up hurting your ankle.
Yep.
You know, when things aren't going great all the time, you know, and people were talking about you leaving for the draft at that time too, even after the 2020 season. Yeah. What was kind of going through your head when you were having success, but not the level you wanted to have success at?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to 2018 because I had a lot of hype, obviously, coming off beating Miami. Yeah. So it was like the Heisman, it was like the Kenny Heisman stuff started back in 2018. And I wasn't ready for that. I mean, I had one start under my belt. We had a young team. You know, we just flat out were nowhere near the team we just had in 21. Yeah. So, I mean, I went through like the whole, like the criticism with the media, social media, the death threats you get from fans. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't take it seriously. But the DMs were like flooded with, you know, just like the hate stuff, the death threats. I had stuff on my car before. And like as a kid, people put stuff in my car. So as a kid, like you're the most well-known kid on campus, pretty much. Yeah. Walking around, everyone knows like who you are with the numbers on your bags and stuff. So a lot to deal with at 19 years old. Yeah. You know, having like
still growing
up, and you went from being the number 2 team in the country now, and every week now, full season. I never played a full season in college. I was 210 pounds probably at that time, and my body. I mean, I was beat up like playing games and. still learning how to be a college kid, like player and all that stuff, and then add all that mental like confidence, trying to keep your confidence up as you're going through the season of adversities and stuff, and ended up winning the Coastal, which was great. And then we got, our ass kicked by Clemson in the championship game, like threw for 8 yards, like in a game. Like, humbling, dude. Like that defense, man. I think they had, probably 6 or 7 like first rounders. Yeah. Everyone got drafted, but like 6 or 7 first rounders. Like I think that like one quarterback went first round, the other one went second round, high second round. The front 4 were like all first rounders. Yeah. Crazy good team. Like probably one of the best teams in the history of the game, college ball. Them and that LSU team previously were really good. So that was the university year. Then Coach Whip came in 2019, and every year I just kept working. Like kids ask, like, what's the seat? Like, can you give me tips? I'm sure you always get the DMs like, can you give me tips? Can you give me tips? I would love to answer every single one of them, but like, there's just no secret. Like, you have to be obsessed with becoming the best and just work every day. Like, there's nothing that happens overnight. So I think every year of my career, I just continued to make those. I just kept showing up, kept showing up, kept working, putting my head down and going. And every year I got better and better. And then the 2020 year, I get hurt halfway through. Like, I was playing a lot better. I was trending towards where I wanted to get to. The ankle injury was a lot worse, I think, than anyone really knew. The doctors were surprised, shocked that I didn't break a bone because of how severe of an ankle injury it was, like the sprain. So I got surgery. I think the BC game was the 10th. I got surgery the 12th. And then I was back in 26 days. Obviously not 100.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's crazy what they can do now.
What was the rehab process? Like, were you just 3 times a day rehabbing?
Dude, living at the facility. Living there. I was there. First one there, 5 in the morning. Last one there, it's 6 o'clock at night. There was no class. I was not going. I was not going to class. I was
not important.
No, I was like, I got to get back on the field. So I told my teachers, they were professors. They gave me time after catch up on the work and stuff. But I was like, listen, I can't come to class and I'll miss rehab time. I have to get back. So just in there, trying to stay a part of the game plans too, because Coach Whip installed some new things, and I want to make sure when I get back, I'm still fresh on the stuff that he put in. So 3 times a day, grueling, and that's kind of where, because you're not trying to get better as a player. There's no technique thing you're working on. It's just health, and it's just you find out a lot about yourself and the adversity situation. So. I was happy to get back in 26 days. Obviously not 100%, by any stretch. You know what you go through to try and play, and the measures that we take to play. But that was definitely a tough year. But going into the decision I made, obviously I had half a season where I was hurt, so it's that also I wanted a full year of tape of being at my best. So that kind of helps.
How big was Peyton Manning in that process to decide to come back?
Yeah, he was big, man. There's so much information. I was talking to a couple of agents, and you know how agents are with the whole thing.
They all want you to leave. Yeah.
All want
they want to get paid.
All want me to leave. Exactly. Everyone wants to get paid. But at the end of the day, that's not a crazy payday like we talked about earlier. How those if you look at how all those contracts are slotted in the draft. Yeah. So you could see what everyone's gonna make in the draft. So obviously you look at where I was projected to the first round money. It's just night and day. And I was thinking to myself if I had I'd have regret if I went early and I was if I played one more year, what could have happened? Because I always believed I would be this. Yeah. And I was if I'm leaving early and I'm not giving myself that chance to go do what I always thought I could do, that would suck to live with that. I only trusted a couple of opinions, Coach Narduzzi, Coach Whipple, Peyton, were the 3 guys that got me information that I was okay, this is concrete, I can trust this, and that's why I made my decision. I texted him and asked for if I could call him real quick, and he answered right away, and I got on a phone call with him, and I kind of gave him my situation. So he's are you leaving early? I was technically, the COVID year, no, it would be, I got this extra free year. So he's okay, well that's unique, that's a little different than what he had 3 years, and he had to make his decision to come back, which is the normal way. So I had a little different thing. So he kind of talked to him about that. He's all right, well let me get some information from GMs that I'm close with, and I'll get back to you. And that 30 or 40 minutes later, it was a string of 6 or 7 screenshots, and he blocked out the names, of course.
From GMs.
From GMs. Yeah. He's this is, he's from GM, and just blocked out the name. But it was 6 screenshots of what they thought about me as a player, where they thought I was projected. And I was okay, well this is a lot
helpful.
Helpful. Clearly helpful. So I was like, that was all I needed to see, and I was like, you know what, I'm not where I need to be. Like, I want to get to where I can like retire my dad when I get drafted. Like, will be the first thing. I was like, I can't do that with where I'm going. Yeah. That's life-changing money that if you can get in that first round. And at the end of the day, that's what everybody that sets out to play this game, like, that's the dream of doing. So once I had that information, it was easy, and grateful for that.
How'd you meet Peyton at the Manning Passing Academy?
Yeah, the Manning Academy. So
cool experience.
Unbelievable, yeah. Like probably up there some of my favorite experiences in football, because of like you're with so many great guys that are all doing what you're doing. Like, they're all starters, they're all at big time programs, and we all know what we all go through to get there and to stay there and to be successful. So like, just getting the BS off the field, like go grab a bite to eat or whatever, hang out at night, like all that's great. Obviously, then you had Peyton Manning and Eli, and you're sitting down at dinner with them. It's an experience that you can't get anywhere else, I'd say. So
I've heard that there's not a lot of football that goes on there. Is that true? There's a lot of off the field activities too.
Yeah,
right?
they do a great.
They have a fun time.
There's a lot of camaraderie. Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie.
My brother told me about it.
A lot of obviously your brother Grant was there. He was I mean, it's just like I said though, but because we all know like the stresses and how we all go through all this stuff. So you're comfortable. You're just with guys like you feel like you've known them for a long time because you're all the same kind of person. So of course, the guys that were 21, of course, we had to go out and have a good time, and there's NFL coaches that are out there, and it's kind of a cool experience just to talk to people as human beings versus the player aspect of it. So it's a lot of great memories.
Let's go into this past season. I mean, one of the best seasons in Pitt history. You break 1 million records, Heisman finalist. What did this season mean to you personally? With everything you've been through, being 11 years old and driving 2.5 hours like we talked about for training sessions, like what did this season mean to you personally? And is this a season that you dreamed of when you were younger?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I grew up watching like Brady Quinn and Reggie Bush. Yeah. That was like my first memory of college football, and like Reggie winning the Heisman, Matt Leinart. So like the Heisman was never a reason why I went back. Yeah. Like all that success and stuff, like at the end of the day, I made a business decision to go back. Like first, like obviously, like, okay, I wouldn't have came back if I didn't need to improve my draft stock. Like that's clearly the number one reason why. The second reason why is like winning a championship was something we talked about relentlessly at Pitt, and that's obviously every program's chasing that. But winter workouts, we're breaking down on ACC champs. Like we talked about it nonstop, and I also wanted another crack at that. So, but yeah, I mean, like you said, like it validated all the hard work that started back at 11 years old. Like that's everything that I was working towards. It wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't just this the past off season that like, oh, I changed something in my routine or I did. There was tweaks and stuff, but that's not the end all be all at the end of the day. Like it's years and years of just being obsessed with your craft, and like you never know when you're gonna have that 1 year that'll change your life and change. All my teammates, like there were so many guys, I think 11 of us that got like all ACC honors. Like that doesn't come to teams that are 500. So like the success of individuals comes from the success of the team. And that's how it'll always be in this sport. The sport it's the ultimate team game, and there's no one man will ever make a championship team out of a university or a franchise or however you want to call it. But definitely was the validation that it all paid. And the one thing my dad told me, like when I was younger at those camps, I would always stress about being the number one guy there. Yeah. And coach would always come out with his rankings or whatever in the East Coast. And I would be glued to him every week. I would always like refresh it and see where I was at. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to go back again. Like I wanted more, I wanted to be number one. And my dad was always just like, it's not about who's number one now. It's about who's number one at the end. No doubt. And this is now I'm at the end now, and this is exactly what where I said I'd be, what I always worked towards. So all that work this is just a validation of it all.
The one thing about this past season that stuck out to me, and I went to one of your practices, I think it was like week 5 or 6 that I was there, is just like the core group of dudes you had on that team. Yeah. Like some really good dudes. You got like veteran guys, like we were talking about Johnny Patrician and Lucas Kroll and Jordan Addison, and like just talk about like the core nucleus of that team and just kind of guys that you guys had.
Yeah, I think like you said, like it was player driven. That's like that was the difference from years prior. Like we all wanted it. We all held each other accountable. If I called a guy out, no one took it the wrong way. In previous years, we had to work there. If I called, there was times fist fights almost break out. Because guys, of course, get defensive and stuff. But you got to get to the point where if I'm calling you out to get us better, get you better. It's not to embarrass you in front of. I would never call a guy out to embarrass him in front of people, and I think that's a big thing. Is in a leadership standpoint, everyone's like, how are you as a leader? Like, how's your leadership style? I would just say I'm relatable. Like, I know how to get the best out of guys. I spend so much time with all these guys off the field and on it, but really off the field, where I know how to get the best out. I know how he reacts to certain things and how he ticks. Like, that's how we all knew each other so well that it was player driven. The coaches didn't have to, hound us to get to certain things. We ran it. Yeah. And that's where I think the championship culture really starts.
Yeah. How big was Mark Whipple in this whole process? As you know, Coach Whipple was my college head coach. He's the reason I transferred to UMass, and he threw me the ball like a million times a game when I was there and had tons of catches. So I know Coach Whipple really well.
I watched your tape, man. He threw it up there all the time.
Oh, was I on the teach tape a little bit?
Oh, you're all over the teach tape, man. Yeah. I'm sure you're the reason why Lucas Kroll
I did. So, I helped Coach Whipple in that recruiting a little bit on getting Lucas Kroll to Pitt. But just talk about how important he was in your career and your development, and like you said earlier, when he became the OC at Pitt, I mean that's when things started taking off for you.
Yeah, and like he changed like I said, coming off the 2018 year was just up and down adversities, dealing with a lot of different things. Like he kind of sparked my confidence back and got me back to where I wanted to be. I mean, he's a coach that. He's coming with a quarterback that threw under 2,000 yards. I think I had 12 touchdowns, 6 picks. Yeah. Like nothing to be excited about. Yeah. But he came in spring and we were just throwing it. Like no matter what the day.
He does that. Yeah.
He does that. He throws it, man. And obviously his stuff works. I mean, you look at his resume. I mean, he had Izzy at UMass. Yeah. Did he win the Bletnikoff? He was a finalist.
I think it was
he was a finalist. I mean, you won the Mackey. From UMass. You won the Mackey. Yeah. Like, I'm a Heisman finalist and Golden Arm winner. Jordan's a Bletnikoff winner. Yeah. Everywhere he's gone, the guy's just done insane.
Yeah. No one's better at getting his playmakers the ball. Like, that's all he cares about.
And that's like, when you simplify the game, that's what this game's about. Like, find your mismatch. Get your best guy the ball. That's how you win. Like, and he does a great job of, assessing the personnel. Who do I need to put in a certain place for us to succeed? What is the best? Like, how are we going to win the game? At the end of the day, he just finds a way to win games. And put us in the best position to succeed. And like he was the reason why I came back. I mean, flat out. Like I told Coach Dews, I was like, if Coach Whip's leaving, like if you're not bringing Coach Whip back, like I'm gone. Yeah. That'll make my decision easy. And he's like, well, he's coming back. I'm like, all right, well now I got a tough decision. Yeah. Like that was. So it was kind of he was the only a huge reason as to why I was back, and all like his guidance and info, being from the NFL, being in college for so long, like I just trusted what he said. Yeah. Like he's like family to me, so. I was pretty much riding with what he said. Yeah. If he told me to go, I was gone.
He never yelled at you, did
he? Yeah, man. He knew how to get the best out of me, man. That's to say, that's for sure. We got into it, but that's the good thing about, like I said, knowing how to take coaching. Guys don't know how to take coaching nowadays. I feel like younger kids coming up, when coaches yell at them, they take it so personal. Yeah. Like, the coach doesn't like me. Like, dude, he recruited you here.
No doubt.
Like he did put all that time to get you here. Yeah. He wouldn't have offered you if he didn't like you. No doubt. And he wouldn't have accepted your commitment if he didn't like you. Like everyone there is liked. He wants to get the best out of you. And like as a veteran, as I got older, I knew what was right and wrong. From every position standpoint, I knew our defense so well. Yeah. Like I'd see why guys are getting yelled at, and DBs would ask me for advice all the time, and I would give them. Of course, I would help them out. And like, that's what Coach was saying. I'm like, and I was like, he's yelling at you, right? He's like, yeah, he's on my ass for this, that. I'm like, that's because he knows what you could do. He wants to get the best out of you. Like that's like the thing, and like he knew how to get the best out of me, man. We got into some heated arguments.
I've heard him rip some dudes, man.
Oh yeah. I would love to say some stories. There's nothing PG I probably could say.
Like the worst thing he's ever said to you. What?
The worst. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't even want to. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I mean,
But it's out of love, though. It's because he cares about
exactly, because he cares and he wants us to succeed. At the end, he wants the best for me, and he knew how to get the best out of me. When he would yell at me, I would get pissed, not at him, but pissed at how I was playing, and it would just bring me that little extra more that I needed to be good. So he knows how to get the best out of guys. And some funny stories that I'll keep for off
the The worst I ever got was a fumble against South Carolina. First drive of the game, I fumbled, and I came to the sideline, and I did not want to go back in the game. I ended up having the game of my career though after that. So
there you go.
It's just like he changed my career just like he changed yours.
Yeah, there was one. There was a practicing camp his first summer here, and I threw a bad ball. Or I threw an alert. I shouldn't have thrown an alert. I had like the first read of the progression wide open. And
Chicken
he's
shit?
he's big, and if you throw the alert, you better hit the alert.
Yeah.
And he just went off, was like, I got no effing quarterback. Like, we're not going to be able to do this, that. And I was so pissed. The next play, I think I threw the best ball of my life. Like semi-rolled left, threw a post backside, like 60 yards. Should not have thrown. A guy was like blanket covered, but I just dropped it in like perfect for a touchdown. And he just like, he didn't say, like no one said anything. We just went to the next period. But since that play, he knew that's how I reacted. Like that would get the best out of me.
So he did it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't a good thing for me, but But and then this past year, he kind of when he knows you got it, then it turns to like I'll ask him questions, and he gave me so much leeway in the offense now, where it was kind of like it got to the point where he was screaming at me. It became a conversation of like I would say why I did that, and he would give me a lot of leeway, and it was cool.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's the kind of relationship you want, right?
You want those two. Yeah. You got to obviously grow and earn his trust, and then once you earn his trust, it becomes a conversation. I really didn't get yelled at anymore. It was more of, I did this because of X, Y, Z. I had reasons as why I did certain things. It was cool.
How special is it having Jordan Addison when you're a quarterback?
Special.
Makes
man.
it easier.
It makes it easy. It makes it Coming like we were. Like 2018, like I was I was nowhere where I needed to be. We were, young at receiver. Like we had guys out of position. We were nowhere like personnel wise, and I was nowhere where I needed to be. So we had a lot of improving to do. So then when you get a guy like Jordan out the gate as a freshman, like it took one throw in like a throwing session. And I pulled him aside. I was like, make sure you line up with me like every time in the throwing set. I was like, I'll wait for you at the end because, he's a freshman. Yeah. The upperclassmen want to go first. I was like, I'll wait for you at the end. I knew he was going to play. And Whip told me, he's like, this kid's really good. So to watch him grow from like that 2020 season, which was a COVID year, like that's the kid's first year is the COVID year. Yeah. It's tough to like have a freshman learn all that stuff. So I was so happy to come back and work with him for another year and like just dedicated as I am. So like, never missed a throwing session, never missed a film session, always where I needed him to be. And, like, there's a reason why I always looked his way, man. The kid, I could trust him, and he's a great player. So it was a really good relationship that we had. And to say the least, I'll be banging, slamming the table for him to get drafted wherever I go.
How was your whole Heisman experience? Something I've never experienced, most people never get to. What was that week like in New York? What was it everything people make it out to be?
It's unique. Yeah, I'd say it was cool. It was really cool.
Because you knew you weren't going to win, though.
Right, I knew that. Yeah, so I was just there enjoying the trip. Yeah, and dude, all I cared about. I had an after party in Hoboken because a lot of my friends didn't have the COVID vaccination yet. Yeah. So you can only get into bars and clubs and stuff if you're vaccinated. Party. So I was like, what, screw it. I was like, we'll just bust it and Uber to Hoboken. I
must have lost my invite. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it in the mail.
In the mail, yeah. I don't know what happened. But yeah, so I was like, I'm a local guy. I knew I wasn't going to win with just, being from Pitt. We're not in the playoff. So sweet, it's like, Bama and those bigger schools just kind of run that stuff. So I was like, I had a great time with it. I had the Golden Arm in Baltimore the night before. So I was there and then drove after that to the city. My fiance was there with my family, was with me. I enjoyed every second of it. The whole ceremony was cool. They keep it short and sweet, get to the point. But having my mom and dad there with me and sharing some of my journey to a lot of people that don't know my career and everything, that was really cool. Met the other best players in the country. Sharing a stage with them. There's legends there that were prior Heisman winners. Like, that was awesome. But yeah, I had all my closest buddies, all my teammates from Pitt came out, all my closest friends from home, they all met up at Hoboken, and we just had it was just awesome. I saw so many people I haven't seen in a while, and guys that I played with in high school came out. So it was special because it was like my current state of football, my past state, my past with a lot of my teammates from Ocean, a lot of people that helped me get there, my high school coaches, trainers, the whole nine. It was an awesome moment to kind of just celebrate everything that I accomplished, that so many people helped me with, and kind of spend time and just really enjoy it.
Who were some of the legends that you got to hang out with? You got to
Tony Dorsett was at there was 2 after parties. There was one with the Pitt boosters and everybody there. So of course that's a little bit more
the Pitt pride.
The Pitt, a lot more contained area. But he was there. I met Marino through the process. RG3, I got to spend some time with. Tim Tebow. Went on college game day set. That was awesome for the Army Navy game, which was their fans are crazy. So that was cool. So there was a lot of things that that I was able to meet, people I was able to meet, experiences like that. Like, it's just lifetime things. And having my fiance with me, my family, it was cool.
Sweet, man. How's NFL draft prep going? You're training at Test in New Jersey. What's that process been like for you?
Yeah, training at Test in New Jersey. One of my best friends just walked in, trained with him. Been friends with him since we were 8, so it's kind of cool, and play Pop Warner with him, so it's kind of cool we're able to do this together. But it's a grind, man. It's like, I'm sure you know, you had a lot of, I mean, you went through it yourself. Like, you're training all day, and at night you're doing the film stuff, you're doing the preparation for the meetings, the board work, and it's just repetitive. And you're training like the 40-yard dash, 5, 10, 5, things I haven't done since high school. Like, in your mind, you're like, you know, it's a waste of time because you're not becoming the best quarterback you can be. I'm becoming like a combine athlete. Like, all these things don't really translate to my position, my craft and getting better, but it's just part of the process that you have to do. So having the Senior Bowl was awesome. That week it's unique, another unique experience, because like they keep you up till 12 o'clock at night. You're up at 5:45, and you're learning a playbook. You're practicing.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah. You know, it's tough, dude. Like, they put you through the ringer mentally, physically, and then the interviews are at night. So I'm interviewing at like 12 o'clock at night. Yeah. Like, who's taking job interviews at 12 o'clock?
Especially being you're the center of attention there.
Right.
You know,
as
QB1.
As quarterback, in my position with everyone, whatever, like all the hype and everything. Like, so those, I mean, they're gonna put you through the ringer, and it's 16. I forget how they do it. They do 16, right? 2 days. And it's 4 hours. Like, there's no breaks. Like, you're just speed dating through this like big convention hall, and you're going team to team, and they're digging back your past, going through like all certain things. Some teams want to learn X's and O's and all that stuff. So it's unique, and they put you through like just a grueling process, I think, to see how much you can handle mentally. Yeah. You know, as much as physically, they kind of know where you're at based off the film, but they kind of want to dig down and put you through a little bit of a gauntlet. And then like back to training, and then you go to the combine again, and that's like a whole nother different process. And medicals was probably the most unique thing, like we talked about earlier, with the doctors going crazy, and pretty much any little bump or bruise you've ever had, they're gonna uncover and figure out what the deal. They're gonna figure out what the deal is, just because you're such an investment. And now I'm back to training again, and then it's pro day, and after pro day it's visits, and I'll be bouncing around probably 7 or 8 teams, I'm sure, in the visit process, and that's a whole other thing that I think a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, it's unique. During this time between combine and pro day, like what's the focus on? What are you working on? What are you trying to improve on? Yeah, like the routes that, if I missed a route in the combine that I didn't like, dial those in. Dial those in. I'm not running, which is great. I don't have to test because I do all the testing at the combine. So I'm just going there and throwing. So really it's just honing that stuff in, getting my pro day script ironed out, figure out what teams want to see more of, because this is kind of like the last thing, on-field workout. And the visits, I think they can they work you out on the visits? Yeah. So I mean, if they want to work me out on a visit, they can. But in terms of what I can control, this is the last time I can go out there and do my own workout. So show the arm strength, do certain things like that, mobility. Just kind of iron that stuff out. What's the plan for the draft? You have it planned out yet? I don't, because the Vegas obviously sounds great. Any kid that gets drafted in Vegas, like, you can imagine how that's going to go. But the problem is, I don't know if my grandparents can come out there. So it's like, I'm big. Like, they were huge in that. Going back to when I was 11, they've made some drives, and they've taken me to a lot of places, and being able to get them out there is kind of like my number one concern. So if we could figure something out where we could get them there and it would make them comfortable, it would be cool. If not, I mean, I would have it probably where I got engaged at, the Butcher's Block, the place in New Jersey, steakhouse. You plugging them right now? Is that a plug? Yeah, I might do. They hooked it up for my. I wish. I may have to talk to Tommy about that, actually. But yeah, I mean, Tommy's the owner there. Known him for a couple of years now, and they've been so good to me and my family. And I got engaged there, surprised my fiance there, and I was just kind of like figuring out, like, I can't have all those people at my house. Like, it just wouldn't be comfortable. So I hit him up. I was like, can we have it there if I decide to stay home? He's like, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Speaking of the engagement, let's talk about that for a little bit. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you. Thanks, man. That's what's she kind of meant to your career? I'm sure she's been a big pillar for it. Huge. During the ups and downs. Huge, and I mean, we were only dating for a year, so she was only here for this season. But it's like kind of when you know type thing. Like, I felt like meeting her, and like she just kind of brought it was something different. Like, everyone around me was just like, you just seem so much happier. You seem in a different light. And I was. A huge piece was was because of Amy and how like she made me feel and how just I don't know, that connection, like, when you know type thing. So having her throughout the season and like getting to experience like the Heisman stuff and going to different award shows, like meeting a lot of
surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal. Like, and you're doing it with the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So it was just unbelievable. And before I wanted to take this like next step in the journey, like I wanted to obviously get engaged and start that whole process with her. And it's been going through the wedding venues and it's just fun, man. It's fun stuff. It's cool. It's been awesome. And I'm excited for the next chapter for us.
How nervous were you for the engagement?
Oh, so nervous. I was more nervous because I thought I was going to blow the surprise.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So she had no idea?
She had no idea, and I wanted to have a surprise, like obviously the engagement, and then the surprise would be back at her house, all of her closest friends and my closest friends, as a surprise party for her. And people are, of course, texting me, and I'm texting my friends like, stop texting me, like she's with me. And like,
why's your phone blowing up?
Yeah, exactly. Like people are popping up, and I'm like swiping quick, like so it just looks so sketchy.
Shady.
Yeah, it looks so shady. I'm like, oh, this is the worst. So like, I was like, I just got to make it to the 22nd, which was the day I was going to do it, and I had to go to the butcher's block and like set it all up before she got there. So that was stressful too. Like I had to have her mom like take her to get her nails done, obviously for the pictures and stuff, and then. Like kind of bought me time so I could go there and set it up. But yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was cool.
Who are you more scared to see when they're angry, Mark Whipple or Amy?
Amy.
I believe that.
I can get away from Coach Whipple, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, no, definitely want to stay on Amy's good side.
I love it. I want to ask you about the NIL stuff a little bit, because name, image, and likeness, new thing in college football, and you obviously were super active. Like, how much money are you making in NIL?
How much did I make? 100 grand.
Like a round.
100 grand.
100 grand. Okay.
100 grand. Yeah.
What were those deals like? Like, were you soliciting them? You had an agent doing them for you? Like,
I had an agent. If I could like give anyone a tip, have an agent.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be dealing with people reaching out. Like at that point, you're pretty much a professional, like off the field, because you're a business. You have money coming in. You have opportunities. So many people want to reach out to you, but you have to worry about your job and what you got to do.
No doubt.
Like, you're not going to get any money if you're not playing well.
No doubt.
That's
exactly.
like the third string guy is not like that's like, oh, like let these athletes go get paid like this and that. And it's like that's true, but like not every athlete's getting paid like that. There's no one on Pitt that was making close to what I was making at the time. And it was new in NIL. Like Pitt's not Bama or Ohio State. Yeah. So a lot of them, like I was kind of the center focus for the NIL stuff, and now Jordan probably will be.
No doubt.
At Pitt. But yeah, I had an agent. He handled all of it. I kind of told him in the summers, it came out like early summer, and then May got passed in July. So I had like 3 weeks before camp where I did a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I was like, let's just knock this out before the season starts, because once that starts, like I'm locked in. Yeah. I can't be going around doing certain things. So stay focused on like the football piece. Off season's the time for like the NIL stuff. But yeah, it was cool. I did charity things. I did stuff with my teammates. I think that's like the right way to do it. Yeah. Spread the love a little bit and like give back to the city, give back to a lot of people that helped you. But like we talked about with the recruiting stuff, it's tough now, I think.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about that. Like you obviously love college football. College football is good to you. College football's got a lot of like issues right now. You got the coaching carousel where coaches are going to be making $12 million a year. Yep. You got the transfer portal where guys are leaving like crazy. You got NIL where kids are literally getting paid to go to different schools.
7 figures.
What's the just coming from that environment? Like, first question: does college football need to be fixed? And if so, how do you fix it?
Yeah, that's
probably for someone above you.
That's
above
a
your
billion-dollar question, man, with a B. But I think the NIL is going to end up ruining it. The NCAA, the NCAA will be no more, I don't think, in a couple of years. Like with how much they want to micromanage everything, you just can't. Like there's some schools that can offer so much money to these kids, it's life-changing, where they can't turn it down. Yeah. They may like another school better and another system, and it may fit them better, but at the end of the day, they're getting offers for 7 figures. It's like these kids are going to go and make that. It's just life-changing money, and you're kind of getting a taste of that NFL money before, where you can help your family out, whatever their situation is.
Let's talk about the fake slide. Okay, so you've captured the internet's attention multiple times. Hand-size season.
Hand-size.
The fake slide, you changed college football. They're now going to make a rule probably prohibiting that. So what was going through your mind? Like, did you? I don't believe that you didn't script that out, by the way.
You don't believe it? You think I scripted that?
I think you plan to do it.
Dude, in a championship game, there's impossible to think about scripting something out that's never been done in the game before. That's true. Like, it's the biggest game of my career. Like, the only thing I'm thinking about is winning the game and executing the game plan that we have put in. And the fake slide was not in the game plan. So, like, it was just guys, when in my just career of, like, sliding, usually I slide so late. Like guys are like on top of you and like they dive over top.
You get the
like
15-yard penalty.
Yeah, you get penalty. Like exactly. You get hit late hits, whatever. Like so, they're usually so aggressive. Yeah. And I just felt everyone kind of like pull up as I was like chopping my feet, and I'm like, why? I should just keep going, just keep going. And like I thought it was a stutter step, but when I watched the tape, obviously I dragged my back leg. It looks a lot. It
was
cooler.
fire. It was. Tough.
It looked a lot cooler than I thought it was. At the time. But yeah, it was so cool. I mean, so many NFL teams do. That's the first clip they show. Yeah. That's the question. Yeah. Did you plan this or not? And it's like no, not planned. Just kind of a reaction thing, like I see it, I'm just gonna like drop my leg and just go.
You went viral.
I did. Yeah, and they changed the rule like 5 days after. Right, and that people like the reaction was so funny because like there were so many people so passionate about it. Yeah. And I'm just like, do you see this every week?
No doubt.
Like, no, it's never happened. Like, this is the first time it ever happened. Like, why are you saying this is like the worst thing you've ever seen? No like, it's awful for the game. Like, don't get me wrong. The
Kenny Pickett's ruining the game.
That's what people were saying. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, I agree there should be a rule. Like, I shouldn't be able to do that because you're trying to protect the. But it wasn't a rule. Yeah. It wasn't a rule because no one's ever done it before. It's not happening on a week-to-week basis. It's just something that doesn't need to be talked about. Like, talk about ejecting players for targeting. Yeah. Like, you're kicking a guy out of a game because he's playing a game that's so fast and so it's a violent sport, and you're making decisions going 20-something miles an hour. These guys are running now, and then you're bouncing him from a game that he worked so hard to be in because of that kind of play. Like the 15 yards is a penalty enough. Yeah. Like get maybe a quarter suspension. I don't know, but that should get changed. Talk about that.
Tough question. Are you QB1? Are you gonna be the first quarterback pick?
I am. I think so. I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I just think you look at like the game now and how it's changing. I'm a mobile guy that came in a West Coast pro-style system. I started a program that was 5-7 the first year I was in it. Mm-hmm. We left as ACC champions, 11-2. So I know how to win. I know the process it takes to get there. It's never an easy thing, and I'll make that transition. I feel like faster in the NFL now because of that experience, and I know how to go about my business as a pro, kind of being an older guy. I think that's at the end of the day. That's what coming out of the position. It's like, can you win? Do you know how to handle all the things that it takes to be a quarterback? And I definitely do. So I think I am QB1.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier today on a show I was on, but about you being a mobile guy. Because everyone thinks of you as like a pocket passer, but this past season at Pitt, you made so many plays with your legs, creating and escaping out of the pocket. You ran a 4.73 at the combine. Yeah. You had a
4.67 unofficial. I like the unofficial number better.
So we just call it 4.6.
Yeah, 4.6, that's right. Keep it broad.
Is that what you wanted to run? Is that
I thought I was going to be in the 4.7. So like I was walking back and the guy I was training with, Dustin Crum. He's like, dude, what'd you think you ran? I was like, I didn't love my start. I was like, I probably like high 4.7s, low 4.8s. He's like, dude, you're at 4.67.
You were juiced.
I was like, shit, all right. I was like, yeah. So from there, I mean, I had a great pro day. Like jumped 10-1, broad, vert was 33.5. I think my short shuttle was 4.29 maybe or something like that. So it was good. It was a good day, yeah.
If you are QB1, obviously your life changes financially.
Yeah.
Take me through your thought process, like your plan, like financially. Like what are you going to do? Are you, investment-wise? Like do you have kind of a thought process with that right now?
Yeah, I mean, I hire people to a lot smarter than me to handle that. So yeah, getting a financial advisor, having him handle that. But the first thing I'm doing is retiring my dad. That's something that he gave me so much as a kid, and like he put so much into me being here, like going back to when I was 11 years old, making those drives, like the amount of time, money, and everything. Like I want him to be done, like put his feet up, like being able to come with my mom, see me play, which he did while he was working, like just going all over the place to see me play. Like I want him to do that stuff stress-free now, go down in Florida and just kick it for whenever he do whatever he wants to do. But definitely that's the number one thing I'll do. Whatever the number is, it's a blank check. Yeah, so he's gonna write whatever he needs. And then just kind of be smart with my money and invest in the right things. I'm not a big spender. Anyone knows me. I mean, like clothing-wise, like I'm rocking sweats and a tee. I'll be rocking that like forever. So there's not big purchases that I'm like thinking about I want to make.
There's not one big, like you're not gonna go get like a new truck or like a.
Dude, like for me, like cars are cool and everything, but like I can get those for free based off the endorsement deals. So, like I'm always thinking like, okay, how can I spin this into an endorsement deal? Like how can I get these things without paying for them? And there's so many ways nowadays to do that. Like house-wise, I mean, I'm engaged, but I don't need a big house with just Amy, but maybe just take a nice trip after the honeymoon. I'll put a lot into the honeymoon. We'll have a nice trip for that.
And you don't got to spend a lot of money on her. We're just talking. She was working for Goldman Sachs, so she's got enough money.
She's graduating in the spring. She'll be working for Goldman, so she'll be bringing in a bunch of her money on her own too. we'll be pretty, hopefully, knock on wood, be in good shape there.
Do you want to go to the Steelers?
I want to go anywhere.
Highest pick.
Pick possible, man. That's like everyone. They kind of took one of my quotes out of. I said like, oh, it'd be awesome to play. It would be awesome. They could have asked me any team, anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a new team that pops up in Alaska. If they pick me first overall, I'm doing backflips.
No
I'm hopping, I'm hopping on a plane and going. So it doesn't matter. Like the team, honestly, it would be awesome to, like I said, awesome to play for the Steelers. Like played in the next door for 5 years, practiced. Like Heinz Field was my home for 5 years. Comfortable playing there. Would be awesome. Coach Cantor recruited me. Like I'm tight with Coach Tomlin. Had a lot of conversations with him. But it's like I said, wherever. It's a dream. The NFL is the dream. It's been, and there's a lot that comes with it. So it doesn't matter to me.
4th and 10 from the 10-yard line. Fourth and goal from the 10.
Yep.
What's the call that you're like praying Mark Whipple calls to the headset for that play?
4th and 10 from the 10. That's not a great situation.
Terrible situation.
This is This is like, there's a lot of interview questions that they put you through, and this is an X and O's one. There's one that wasn't. I want to see what you say. I'll ask you after. But it was very similar. Like they give you the worst situation, worst play call, and they're like, "What would you do?" And in this situation, you think players, not plays.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, how can I get Jordan Addison in the best position to help us win? Like what's his best route? So I would put. We called it Panther 33. It would have been your Musket
33.
Musket 33.
The Musket series.
Yep. Yeah. We had.
It's like the no huddle.
Yeah. We had our Panther series. So it was the same exact plays, I'm sure.
Was that Jordan on the flag?
Yep. Yeah. The middle read. Yeah. So he's got the corner. Poco. Yeah.
See, I remember Musket 33.
Yeah. And then backside we had a glance. I don't know if you guys had that.
I don't remember.
But so I mean, I have Tayseer backside or Jerry Wayne, who's I love throwing to those guys too. So I mean, I have two. I'd say that play because I have two options. Two of my best players I can get the ball to. So think players, not plays in those big time situations.
Whip used to always call the Opie Skype. Did you guys remember that at all?
Yeah, Skype.
That was like the play to get me the ball all the time. Yeah. He called that. That was a first down call. That was a third down call. It was a goal line call.
Yeah, there's so many plays that were like that where I knew he was just all right. He wants to get Tay the ball or he wants to get Jordan the ball. So the one interview question that I had. So you're on a bus. The bus is going down a mountain and the brakes are shot. And you had like all you could do is steer like. So whatever, like you can't. There's just brakes. You're going downhill. Like it's not looking good. Where do you want to sit in the bus?
The back, right?
Really?
Where do you want
I said driver's seat. Because you control.
So I would have failed that interview.
I guess you would have failed. I'm hoping that's the right answer.
I'm just trying to survive.
I didn't answer. I had to write on a piece of paper, and they just took it. So that was at the Senior Bowl.
So you put driver's seat.
I put driver's
That's
seat.
such a quarterback answer, though. Like mine was such a tight end's answer. Like I want the quarterback to do it all.
One of the kids I was friends with, he was like, I picked the middle because like the front's gonna die first. Like you don't know what's going on in the back, but like the middle sounded like
the back's chaotic.
That's what he's like. He's like the middle sound like good. I looked at him. I was like, dude, you didn't think about that one.
Well, that's a good interview question.
Yeah, dude. I had the cat or a dog one.
What's that one?
So it's just like, would you rather be a cat or a dog?
How'd you answer that?
It was like one of those surveys, so I just picked dog. But then after you pick it, like I'm like, it was such like a mind like question. So I'm just like, maybe I should have said cat because they're like cunning, maybe like smarter. I'm like, but a dog, like you got the dog mentality. I was just like, you overthink all your answers.
It's just funny to think about like how many people there are in the NFL like doing this scouting stuff.
Yeah.
Like they probably overthink all of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kenny said dog on this. Are we sure we want to trade up to go take him?
Yeah. I mean, do you remember the IQ testing that they do at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
4 hours, like as soon as you get there, 4 hours of IQ testing, and that kind of like.
How'd you do on that?
I have no idea.
Yeah. You think you did all right?
I hope.
Yeah.
My position,
We're in trouble
man, I hope. Do you ever see the one with the ball? Like there's like 3 highlighted balls and like they're moving and then all of a sudden they turn to the same color as the other ones and they're like track them, like 6 of them and like there's 30 of them going around and you have to pick. It's like I always like love like looking around the room and guys are just like stressing, like they're struggling, they're hurting. I'm like, Dad, this is it always like this process, everything kind of exceeded the hype around. Like you go in, like I'm like, I'm thinking one thing, and it always finds a way to like one up it. So
you talked about your family a little bit, but I just want to elaborate a little kind of on like what they mean to you through this process. I know they were in a suite during all the games. I used to see your dad on TV. What's it? It's got to be so cool for them to get to go along with this journey with you.
Yeah, because like I said, my family's just everything to me. My grandparents, my mom, my dad, my aunts, cousins, uncles, like. anyone who knows me, I'm very tight knit. And like, there's a lot of people I don't like who aren't family to me, but they're like family. You know, I have a lot of friends that are just like brothers to me, or you know, their parents are like uncles or dads to me. So. Got that suite because my grandfather couldn't really move around well. So I was like, I need to get him in a place where he can come to the games and be able to get up and out of there easily. So like I said, they were always in the suite for the home games. They would travel to every away game, never missed a game. So being able to go through all this stuff, it's just special because it's everything. Like my dad was my number one like supporter, and my mom, and like they never laughed at the dreams that I had and all the things that I said I would do. So it's special.
Even when you were like 4'11".
That's what people don't get, man. I was freshman year of high school, dude. I was 5'6", 125 pounds. Yeah. And I was still telling everyone I was going Division I. That's why it was always just a big joke that I would say that. You know, you always get like, oh, maybe try like a different position, like maybe slot receiver. And I was just like, nah, like I'm gonna be a quarterback.
Slot receiver.
Yeah, like slot receiver.
White slot receiver.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like Edelman or something.
You'll make it there.
I didn't have that speed, dude. Yeah. Yeah. So like having people that just were always believing in you and to go do everything you said you were going to do and have them like, kind of experience that. And like the roller coasters of the highs and the lows, like they were always there for me in the times of adversity, obviously. And just everything we did, you know, it just paid off. I always say we when I was talking about like this whole process, just because there's so many people that help you through it. Like, you never get here on your own.
Takes a village, right?
Yeah, you'll never get anywhere on your own. So it's special to have a group, like a family that's so supportive and by your side from the start. So it's been great.
The one thing I think that for people that aren't familiar with like the process of the draft and everything is the agent process. Yeah. Like what was that like for you? Because it's really a whole nother recruiting process, right? Like you're now back on the open market getting recruited by a million agents. Yeah. Like, how did you have to navigate that and make some tough decisions?
Yeah, it's business, and it's like your first, like I think your first decision as a man, it's like, okay, make your commitment, like. Yeah. And then you got to call the schools that you're deciding not to commit to and tell them before you commit.
That's hard. That's some hard calls.
Those are some hard calls. And some coaches really know how to take it well, and there's some coaches that are like spiteful and they just they come across, you know, negatively, and you're like, you know what, it's good I didn't go there because this is the kind of person.
They tell you you're going to have a terrible career.
Right. Yeah. But it's also like this is just how you know what kind of person that guy is. Like he's not who was recruiting you. So it's good. It's good. It's like like I said, that first like grown man decision. So then you get into like to the agent process, and mine was a little different because I had that 5 to 7 round grade, that agent pool that I was looking at. Yeah. And all of a sudden, as the year's going and I'm doing well and the projections start moving up to where I knew I would be in that first round talk, now you're getting everyone. Yeah. Like, but you can kind of like comb through who's legit, who isn't. Like, I have a lot of friends in the league. I can ask like about their agents, like who I should look for. But like the bigger agencies that have the experience and the resources, like that's obviously a huge deal when you get to this level. So, and I love the guys that I was with before that talking to. Yeah. So it was kind of like a mixture of both worlds, and I just kind of feel like my priorities, who I felt the most comfortable with, who do I trust, who do I know that will go to bat for me and get the best spot for me and go to war for me. So at the end of the day, that's kind of like what it came down to. No
doubt. No, it makes sense. It's a tough process. Going through it, like it was hard. And I wasn't barely going to be drafted. You know, I couldn't. Some of those calls I had to make was just brutal. Like, terrible. It's like the recruiting calls when you had to call the coaches. Yeah. Like you said, it's just
because it's a 2 or 3 year relationship that you build with the guy.
And they've invested a lot of resources in trying to recruit you, and then they're banking on making a lot of money off of you, especially in your situation. Yeah, you know? People's agent's life would change if they signed with you.
Right. You know, especially just how like that quarterback market works. The reason I went with WME and Brian Aralt, you know, he had Joe Burrow, he had Zach Wilson. Two guys that did exactly what I did, right? Like came from a day 3 guy up to a day 1 after having a great year. Like that comfort of he's been here, he's done that. That's, you know,
so much different when you're a quarterback.
It's proven. He's proven. He helped get like he knows the deal. Like that was huge. So
who's the quarterback in the league that you like emulate the most or compare yourself to the most?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think. I watched a lot of Burrow tape, like, because what he did at LSU, that's kind of where Coach Whip
creates so well.
Like when I scramble, I don't scramble to run. Like I scramble to throw. I scramble to get guys free down the field and make plays down the field. So that's what he did at LSU. And then he's obviously really accurate from the pocket. You know, throws a really good deep ball, accurate in the intermediate. I think that's kind of the mold, I'd say.
Yeah, Joey B.
That's it, man. Hopefully,
I love it, man.
Yeah. If I keep trending like the way he's going,
Yeah, I was gonna say not a bad guy.
Not a bad guy, man. I'll be doing okay.
You kind of got the swag like him too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
He may be a little cooler.
We were. Yeah. He's definitely cooler, man. He dresses way cooler than I do. We were roommates actually the first year at the Manning camp.
Oh, really?
He was on the it was like a quad or whatever. He was on the other side. So yeah. First time I met him down there. Now we're at the same age, and so it's cool.
Yeah, that's sweet. What's your diet like right now during the training session? Like, is it locked in?
In the fridge right over there, man. Yeah, I have a
in.
chef come 3 times a week, and
Really?
I had a blood test, so I know he knows what the things in my body doesn't react to well. Yeah, like swelling or stuff.
It's intense.
It's intense.
Blood
test. It's blood test.
Testosterone levels, all that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, he just knows what my body reacts to the best, and makes a meal plan for it. And I have a nutritionist at test, Lauren Dunn. She does she works with him. They kind of iron out all the details of it, so it's strict. Yeah,
it's intense. I love it.
It is.
I love it.
It is.
We're gonna end every episode, every interview we do with one question, basically just to get you to open up a little bit about kind of why you do what you do. And I think the one thing I know is anyone who has the level of success that you have and that you've achieved and are going to achieve, there's some kind of motivation that's bigger than just yourself.
Yeah.
So what's your why? Like, what's the reason that you wake up every day and you're like, I want to be the best in the world?
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. Outside of, like you said, being the best, the drive, that competitive edge and spirit I've had when I was young. So anything I always did, I always wanted to be the best at it. So going back to the roots of playing the game, I loved football and I was obsessed with just becoming the best. I'd say that's the number one. I think number two, it's just this game gives you so many great opportunities, and I think the number one thing to do is take care of the people who take care of you. Yeah. My family gave me so much, and I had so many conversations. Back when in 2018, I remember telling my dad I'm gonna retire you that. I was I'm gonna take care of you. You're gonna be done. I would always tell him I always ask oh, when do you want to retire? And he was he's 50. He's turning 52 in March, and he's maybe 60, early 60s.
Way before that.
Yeah, and I was like, you're done early. I was whenever I get out of the draft, drafted, you're done. I'm gonna be that. That's really special. And I think I look at a lot of guys to other sports too, Conor McGregor, his documentary and stuff. I kind of followed his journey. How I took he's obviously crazy loud, and that's not how I am. But the way he was able to come from nothing, take care of his family. I didn't come from nothing. I grew up great, and but my dad put a lot of work in to help me get here. He had a lot of people that he wanted to take care of. I want to take care of my family, my mom, my dad, my grandma. I want everyone to be good, do what they want to do, and give back to the people that gave me so much. So I think family and taking care of my new family now, my fiance, and who knows when we'll start a family, and just giving everyone a great platform to live their life on.
That's gonna be such a cool moment when you get to retire your dad.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, he may not even see this, so. But he knows I always tell him it's because his birthday's coming. Like I said, his birthday's coming up, and he's like, oh, what do you get me for my birthday? I was like, it's coming April 28th. I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, yeah, it's in the mail. It's coming April 28th. It'll be here. So that call is that's what that call really means to me. That's gonna be a special day.
Well, man, I appreciate you doing this. I know everyone in the world is trying to get you on a podcast right now, so I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you having us in your house. This is pretty sweet. Not a bad setup. We could use a little design.
The hotel decor,
any designers out there that want to help Kenny design his living room, we'd appreciate it.
I got 2 months left here. Absolutely, bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Hope you guys enjoyed that first episode of Breneman Shows Up. Thanks to Kenny Pickett. That was awesome that he took all that time with us. He's not an easy guy to get on a podcast nowadays. Everyone's trying to interview him. So really appreciate Kenny for doing that. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram. We got a lot of cool behind the scenes, really neat content coming out here soon. If you made it this far and watched the whole episode, I truly appreciate it. Episode 1 was a big success. We got a lot of cool stuff coming, so let me know who you want to see on the next episode of Breneman Shows Up.